My name is Roxanne Rocha. I have been involved in elementary education as a paraprofessional since January of 1998. The first 4.5 years were in a self-contained ESE classroom. Now it's in the Title I department. I thoroughly love my job and look forward to going to work most every morning. I enjoy reading, watching old movies, doing crafts, country music, and spending quality time with my family. Even though I have experience working with children with disabilities, I must admit I was nervous going into this project. I'd never worked with a child with severe brain damage before and had no idea what to expect. All I knew was that there was a child who needed help learning the basics all over again. I wasn't sure at first how or even if I could help. I only knew I wanted to do the best I could for this little boy and his family. This is Lucito. He's 7 years old. He's a beautiful little boy. A year ago, he was normal, healthy, active. He loved Disney's movie The Cars, music, going to school. Then he got sick and had a medication issue. On the way to the hospital, he died. They were able to resuscitate him, but not until he had gone about 16 minutes without oxygen going to his brain. The result? Severe brain damage. Against all odds, he's still alive and slowly progressing. We worked with Lucito in his home. He lives with his family in a private community in Polk County. We spent most of our time with him in the family room next to the fish tank. We occasionally worked with him in his bedroom, which looks very much like a hospital room. The people who primarily work with Lucito outside of his family and doctors are the nurses and a teacher who visits him in his home. Our team consists of Naomi, Ruth, and myself. We're all here with Lucito. I was first introduced to Lucito through Naomi. She's a personal friend of the family and a fellow classmate. Here she is, shown working with Lucito using balloons, trying to get him to track with his eyes. He can only do this for a few seconds at a time, but with practice, he'll be able to increase that time. I also use balloons, but for texture and color. His little sister helps to stimulate his senses also. Mostly what we do with Lucito is sensory motor development. The teacher and nurse work together as they try to make him comfortable. He doesn't have control over his body. His head keeps falling forward. He tries to lift it on his own, but his brain can't communicate how to his body. You can see when he's trying very hard to do it himself. His eyes will look upward as he's trying to get his head to do what he wants it to do. Here they're trying to adjust his chair so his head can stay up and not drop on his chest. To continue with the sensory motor development, we use lights and music. We continuously talk to him, tell him what we're going to do, and what we want him to do. This particular toy has buttons you push to turn it on, turn it off, change the lights, change the music. If he can push a button, he can eventually be able to communicate. This is one device the teacher is hoping he'll be able to use in the future. It works by putting a picture for each square. Here's the picture of his abuelita, or grandmother. When he pushes the button with her picture, he will hear a pre-recorded message from her in her own voice. By pushing the button associated with her picture, he will be able to let others know who he wants. For example, if you put a picture of a drink in the yellow square and Lucito wants a drink, he'll push that button to let you know he wants a drink. Reading to Lucito is another activity we used. At first, he didn't really respond much to this activity, but that changed. As you can see here, he did begin to look at some of the pictures. He would start looking at the pictures about 3 or 4 times throughout the story. I found working with Lucito extremely rewarding. Even though have only worked with him for a very short time, I have seen some progress. On my last day working with him, I saw him use both hands to push the button machine away. This is something he's not done before. For the everyday onlooker, this may not seem like much, but for Lucito, it's an amazing step. I've worked with many children with disabilities in my lifetime in different capacities. This was, however, the first time I've ever worked with someone who has severe brain damage. I have learned that it doesn't matter how severe the disability, these children can learn. It takes understanding, compassion, and dedication. You have to know their strengths and work with that. You need patience and perseverance. You can't give up on them because they won't give up. As long as you work with them, they will learn, one step at a time.